Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. I guess it's right on noon, but thanks very much for coming over the lunch hour. It's great to see so many people here. Obviously, this conference is really well attended this year, so very exciting to be here. So as the person introduced us said, we're here to really talk about volumetric capture, and the human-centric approach to augmented reality is really the theme.
I'm stepping in for Skylar.
Stepping in for Skylar. Yes. So just a little bit more background sort of on Christina, not Skylar, and Metastage as well. So.
I'm Christina Heller. I'm the CEO of Metastage, and I have the immense privilege of working with Skylar Sweetman on a day-to-day basis as our head of production. Metastage has been in operation since 2018, and we were the first company to commercialize the Microsoft mixed reality capture technology that they had spent 10 years developing. And so we've committed ourselves to pioneering volumetric capture for 4 years, and that includes many productions serving many different use cases and verticals.
Yeah, and so this is actually the Metastage sizzle reel for you all to take a look. Do you want to talk us through that?
Sure. So I'll talk you through some of this. We start off with a capture of Charlie XCX for a Samsung earbuds commercial. We'll get more into that later, but volumetric video was used in a TikTok ad to do these cool camera moves. This was an H&M campaign that we did in collaboration with Dimension Studios in London, an AR lookbook where when you scan the QR codes, 3D models pop up like a diorama. We've done a number of things with NBC and Telemundo where you scan a QR code and a character pops into your living room as a hologram. Lots of stuff for New York Fashion Week. This was Christian Cowan in 2020 doing a virtual meet and greet for his fans. AR Pro with Verizon and Trigger Global, we captured world-class athletes teaching you how to do their signature move in augmented reality. Location-based entertainment at the Dallas Cowboys Stadium with Nexus Studios and AT&T. Basically, the Cowboys descend like superheroes onto the stadium. This was a proof of concept we did with Unity and UFC. We've captured Black Panthers and Holocaust survivors for what I kind of consider Museum of the Future type activations. We did some early work with the New York Times. This was Lakeith Stanfield for their Great Performers AR piece. We did AR wine labels where you scan the wine label and they teach you about the wine. Snowboarder Chloe Kim for the Icon ski passes in 2021-22. Chris Pratt for Tumi bags for retail activation where he does like a funny, goofy little commercial in AR wearing the Tumi backpack. And then finally, we did the first ever snap lens using volumetric video for the Halloween Kills movie this past fall.
And that was actually Skylar.
And that was Skylar.
That was actually Skylar.
Terrified.
Yeah, okay. So for me, my name's James Hursthouse. As the person that introduced us said, I've been in video games mainly for the last 20 years. Started my career back in Asia in the Jurassic period of massively multiplayer online gaming with Nexon. And I sort of realized, 2007 Metaverse roadmap, and even prior to that, when I was at college, I was very interested in computational model of the mind and the idea of sentient AI and very lifelike avatars and all these kinds of things. Did various things, but then about 18 months ago, there was a day on which Christina's name came up 3 separate times in 3 separate conversations. I have to meet this person, so reached out through LinkedIn. We did a call, hit it off. So very fortunately, Departure Lounge then came together. The idea of the name is that it's the place that you go for your journey into the metaverse. And so when I saw what Metastage was doing with human volumetric capture and Microsoft mixed reality capture studios, I was like, that's something that we really want to do. Really want to do it in Vancouver, BC. Obviously, Vancouver is Hollywood North in many ways, and also we have a really robust mixed reality industry. Microsoft has a lot of its own mixed reality employees up there as well. So we really felt that Vancouver was the right place to put the Departure Lounge, and so that's what we've been doing. I guess we're about 2 weeks away now from full launch, probably, or at least test launch. Adam's in the room somewhere. When I said full launch, I could see him cringe, but anyway. But if you're interested, tomorrow on the expo floor, booth 1018, we're going to have a full digital twin of what the Departure Lounge will look like. And so what we wanted to do was actually create 3 divisions. So the nucleus of everything is the volumetric capture and the use of the holograms. So we have tools and technologies, not just volumetric, but also mocap, showcap, live showcap, object capture as well, and then a creative services team that's building amazing experiences using the output from the tools and tech, and then finally a Web3 group as well, because a lot of what we're seeing right now, obviously if you're building content in 2022, NFTs and the Web3 dialogue is really part of that conversation with most customers. So there's a few of the companies. We just announced a partnership with Move.ai yesterday. AR wall, you'll see we have the big LED wall on the booth. So there's a lot of stuff going on, and really, like I said, Departure Lounge is supposed to be this one-stop shop for virtual and real-time production based in Vancouver. Recently also very fortunate in that where we've located the headquarters is on the Center for Digital Media campus. If you're familiar with Vancouver, you probably know Center for Digital Media is a collaborative initiative between the 4 leading academic post-secondary institutions, Emily Carr, UBC, BC Institute of Technology, and Simon Fraser. So as a result of that, we have a ton of access to students and faculty and the ability to do research as well. So very fortunate to be in that location. And that led to this education collaboration agreement through which we're planning to establish a Metaverse Innovation Center. So if anybody's interested in helping us support with that, we'd love to hear from you. So today, the topic is really, as we said, the human-centric approach to augmented reality. What is volumetric capture? Now, obviously, that question, there's a lot of people here who fully know what volumetric is, but I guess there's a ton of new faces as well as the industry expands. So we'll take a quick look at what is volumetric capture as a reminder, and then really look at the key advantages, right? Obviously, there's a lot of different tools and technologies. When would you pick volumetric over a different one? And really just sort of go back to the studs and take a look at when you would make those choices and illustrate that through 3 or 4 selected case studies. So that's what we're going to do. So what is volumetric capture?
So volumetric capture is the ability to capture a real, authentic performance using an array of cameras to manifest a 3D asset that you can bring into any virtual platform or 3D application. So that's a lot of technical jargon. I mean, really what it is it's like the closest thing to capturing the experience of a real person and transporting it into a mechanism where it can feel like that person is right in front of you.
Yeah, and here's the actual stage.
Yeah. So here's a look at Metastage Los Angeles, which our Vancouver stage will be practically just an upgraded doppelganger of, really.
Yeah.
And we have 106 cameras all facing in at a performer or a group of performers, capturing whatever happens on that stage from every angle. We also have 20 airy sky panels that have the full color spectrum and 8 shotgun mics that circle the stage and capture audio from every direction. So essentially, whatever happens on that stage, we can create a beautiful 3D asset of that is both high resolution and highly compressed.
And a matte black truss.
Yes, a beautiful truss. That's true.
Okay, so key advantages that we wanted to cover today, just sort of, again, as a reminder of the basis here. So efficiency, how do you make these shoots more efficient compared with particularly on-location shooting? Secondly, talk a little bit about the creative freedom that the process affords us. And then finally, talk a little bit about how it's flexible and future-proof. I think a number of people look at these models and think, oh, they must be really heavy, really difficult to use in sort of more modern mixed reality applications. But obviously, with Augmented World Expo being pretty firmly about mixed reality, we wanted to cover some of those things as well. Do you want to make any comments about it particularly?
Yeah, I mean, when I'm an immersive nerd, so when I launched Metastage, of course, I was thinking about augmented and virtual reality applications using real humans and real performances. But one of the things that's been so exciting in the last year was bringing these 3D assets into virtual production pipelines for movies, TV, film, commercials, that kind of thing. And a perfect segue to the case study. So this was a highlight project from last year, starring pop star Charli XCX. Our partner RGA had a problem, which was that they had a limited amount of time with Charli for this commercial. They wanted to have 4 different backgrounds that would fit the creative of the earbuds campaign, and they wanted to do sweeping camera moves that would look like a video game. And so they were coming up with issues like, where do we shoot this and how do we do it in budget? So we attempted to do this revolutionary technique of combining volumetric capture with some traditional green screen video for the extreme close-ups.
Yeah, that was that 30-foot crane shot.
Yeah.
Just behind her there.
So it ended up working out really well. Charli got to come to Metastage. She did her performance in 4 different costumes, and she got to leave. For her, it was a super easy production process. And then the creative team got to build the commercial in post using Maya, Nuke, and Houdini. And this is a picture. This is a shot of Charlie being brought into Game Engine as well. So they were able to do everything they had hoped to do on a fraction of the time and the fraction of the budget, and with incredible results.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. 6 hours in air-conditioned, fully catered, beautiful environment, rather than having to schlep off to the jungles and all these kinds of
Or just
things,
like Venice Beach and get location permits and all of that.
Stuff.
And one of the cool things about it was we were curious, like, how close can you get to the volumetric capture without revealing that it's a volumetric video and not like a cinematic capture? And we determined that really like a medium shot was about as close as we could get before, Samsung might be, saying they wanted something a little more, digitally high fidelity. So we did the extreme close-ups of her putting the earbud in her ear against green screen, and then everything else in the commercial was the volumetric videos.
Right, and then correct me if I'm wrong, but because the guys knew what environments they were going to bring her into, that means that the lighting's more accurate through the areas, right?
That's right. We did custom lighting for each outfit and each shot to match the scene and the vibe of the commercial.
Right. Yeah. Really cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then this was another one that I guess you did where we were talking about the ability to create experiences, very high-end experiences, but still bring them into that mixed reality environment, right?
Yeah, so this is both a just very cool marketing activation for Coca-Cola and also a glimpse of what virtual concerts of the future could look like. This was a combination of Metastage working with Vice Media for a Coca-Cola ad, debuting their new drink, Starlight.
Yeah, and just before we show you, if you want to use
you can scan the QR code.
If you want to do the QR code.
There's music, and maybe take a picture of it and do it later, because you're going to end up doing a whole virtual concert. But
we'll have like 15 Ava Max concerts that will happen in front of
What's very cool about the Ava Max, this particular concert, is not only was it distributed through Eighth Wall, so no app download, you can just scan the QR code. And now we have an example of it.
Here,
we were also just really blown away by how much data and how much extra stuff we were able to cram in through the AR activation, the web AR activation. Here you'll see not only does Ava here materialize as a, goddess in space, she also is surrounded by this incredible otherworldly planet, stars, a whole galaxy around her. She performs her song King and Queens, the full 3.5-minute song, and we actually captured her doing 3 different songs from her catalog for this campaign. And this was cool. They wanted to have it have like a hologram glitchy effect, so we were even able to take the OBJ and PNG sequences and do some effects to it.
But compared to doing it in real life, again, just so cost effective when you look at it.
For sure. Like if they had wanted to create a digital avatar of Ava, it would have been extremely time consuming, expensive, might not have really looked like her. And in the end, Ava, this was able to get quick approvals from the clients and was ready to go, 2 weeks after we shot. So again, it depends on what you're looking for, whether volumetric is the tool for the job, but in this case, it totally was. And again, to your point about future proofing, as Ava advances in her career and evolves, we'll always have these captures of her at this time in her career.
Right.
And they will port to holographic displays, in the future as well, which is cool.
Well, and also with some of the experimentation we've been doing with branching narrative and re-rigging and all those sorts of things, it's also future-proof from that perspective to a certain degree, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So this one, talking a little bit about the flexibility of the application.
Well, so this was I always hesitate with the world's first thing, but this one I actually know was a world's first. It was the first, only because we have Snap there, verifying it with us. We did a volumetric capture of Michael Myers from the Halloween movies, and we turned it into, along with Microsoft and Snapchat, we turned it into a lens for the Snapchat app. And I think it was a world's first, so that's cool. But it was
the real guy, right?
It was absolutely the real guy. And there's just a short walk. How it can be that creepy, I don't know. But what was really noteworthy about this was how small we were able to get the file sizes, because if you've worked with Snapchat, if their lenses, that they have the extreme restrictions on file size. We were able to, I think, get them to increase the file size to 15 megabytes, but we had a 10-second clip clocking in at under 15 megabytes for that activation. And again, I just think that we've come a long way, considering that we're capturing from 106 cameras that capture 30 gigabytes of raw data per second.
Yeah, 30 gigs per second down to under 15 megs, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yep, that's cool. And then this one's actually new to me, so I don't know.
You don't even know what this is.
I don't know what this one was.
Well, I'll teach you too. This is the Maisie Willen New York Fashion Week experience that we did with Riot and Yahoo, and they basically did a holographic holographic fashion show for New York Fashion Week, and combined it with some traditional still photography as well. And they took it was for using the creative of Monster High. So what was really fun on this shoot was how creative the costumes were, the use of prosthetics. Again, we're just capturing whatever happens on that stage. So the experiences can really be elevated depending on the creatives that are contributing to the vision. And in this case, it's just so obvious, how much creativity went into these costumes and models. And so in addition to creating a holographic runway for New York Fashion Week with, I think, 7 or 8 foot tall models in AR, they also took those assets into the website to create a shoppable 3D website. As this is where you can see right here.
And as John Riccatello said this morning, every single 2D website is going to be replaced by a Metaverse 3D spatial version of that. So
sure.
And this was pioneering in that regard, right?
Absolutely. And just from a practical sense, if you're talking about fashion on a website, being able to spin the model around and see the clothing from every angle has a lot of tangible benefits.
Absolutely. So I'm not sure what this slide is actually.
Oh, this is a look at the website. So here you can see, So here you can see, you scroll down the website, and using your mouse, you can spin the model around and check out the dress. And we added some fun effects to it that fit the creative of Monster High. If you scan the QR code, again, using the 8th Wall platform for distribution, you can see the models pop up in your living room in AR as well. Which, if we're talking about fashion of the future, being able to see the clothing and the way it really authentically hangs on the body and from every angle will have, I think will create more trust with shoppers, and hopefully, increase sales.
Yeah. I mean, it goes without saying, obviously, a key advantage is every thread and every piece of the fashion, the beautiful outfits is captured by this technology, right? Well, obviously, with markers and a mocap suit, you're never going to get there, right?
True, and I look to hopefully a future where, let's say, every fashion house will at least do a short capture of their entire campaign in volumetric for an archive. That way, they will have each outfit from every collection, documented and preserved for the future. Again, for the future where our mixed reality future, it has a lot of value. And I could see the same for, theater productions and things like that, capturing characters for digital archives of the future as well.
Yeah, I didn't actually know the fashion industry is the second largest industry in the world after oil and gas.
I didn't know that.
$3 trillion industry, fashion, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Anyhow, so I think that's probably it.
So open it up to some questions.
Absolutely, questions. Yeah, we just decided we'd leave 5 minutes for questions, and obviously with Christina here, it's a great opportunity to ask anything about volumetric. If you have any questions, then feel free. I think there's a microphone here, so we would welcome your questions.
Somebody's got to have one. There we go.
Very good.
Yeah.
I've only been following volumetric slightly. I'm wondering what sort of the barrier, or I think there are people doing it between real-time volumetric and sort of the highest fidelity versions.
Yeah, so pre-rendered volumetric is the path towards the highest fidelity capture, and is probably what you want if you're building out, your experiences, training experiences, that kind of thing, marketing campaigns. But live volumetric is extremely exciting because it's kind of the closest thing to teleportation that exists. And we're really at the very early stages right now as an industry with live volumetric, but 100%, it's already here in some low quality capacities and is going to be more and more a thing in the next couple of years.
Yeah, absolutely. And with the stage up in Vancouver, actually, because we're slightly larger and the cameras are on tracks and we can actually take them off, we will experiment actually using a larger volume to do some live music capture, probably within the next few weeks, actually, because we all play stuff and we just like to play and we'll see, right? So you never know.
Yeah.
Could be a Departure Lounge band live concert in the Metaverse in the next couple of months. I don't know, but we'll see. Great question, though. Thank you.
With regard to the AVA volumetric capture, you mentioned repurposing and re-rigging, which is intriguing. Could you give us a state of the art for right now, what that's like and what you expect it to be in a couple of years?
Well, sure. So, volumetric video's claim to fame is authentic human capture. So we're really trying to, a lot of times we're not trying to re-rig, we're just trying to capture the moment and make that available for people to experience. That being said, there may be a number of reasons you want a riggable volumetric asset, and there are great tools like Arcturus's HoloSuite, for instance, allows you to add a skeleton to the volumetric videos and maybe do a subtle retargeting of the hand or something along those lines. We also have a gaze shader at Metastage that allows the head to track with the viewer. So if you're doing like an AR, VR experience where you need to create a one-on-one conversation with one of these characters.
Or if you want Michael Myers to follow you around.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then we'll often just throw a T-pose in almost every shoot, just in case you might want to have somebody running across the back of your scene or something along those lines. You can add a skeleton and rig them like you would any 3D asset.
And 2-3 years from now, what do you think it'll be like?
Well, I hope that AR glasses in some consumer capacity are on the market because while, like for instance with Ava, if I want to experience that concert, I still have to hold my phone or my iPad up. And it's just like that little bit of cumbersome, that barrier between me and Ava that I just think will be totally much cooler when I can just watch the concert right in front of me. I've seen our stuff on a HoloLens and it's in a Magic Leap and it's really exciting. So that's my hope for 2 or 3 years is that we can start to engage with the stuff without having to hold our...
Well, and certainly with television cameras, when you saw the big stadium stuff with the Dallas Cowboys, the TV cameras can have that capability, right? So for audiences at home, the augmented future is already here.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. For live audiences, you want to just be able to put on
That's true.
the glasses and...
That's true.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Just a couple more minutes there. Question.
Hi, thank you for coming today. In regards to price, I wanted to know, because there is still, a production stage, there's still a post-process, process. And the companies that you've been showing are, large companies who have, millions and millions of dollars. Are you able to give a number on the price per minute for a volumetric video or something like that?
Sure. So, I don't know if you want to talk about that here, but I'm comfortable.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So, at Metastage, it usually to do a project with us, it usually starts at about $10,000 and scales up. So that's more accessible than some people expect, but also out of reach for a number of other type of creators. And in those cases, there are other volumetric solutions out there that you can look at that are more affordable and kind of geared towards that demographic. I can just say at Metastage, though, coming from an indie background myself and being just a champion of the arts, we really do always try to make it work if we can in some capacity. So whether that means, we have what we call a volcap access program at Metastage, where we will give big discounts to indie creators with projects we want to support. And then also we'll try to work with them to manage the scope of their projects. Sometimes people come to us and they're like, I want 25 minutes. I'm like, okay, that's really expensive.
Yeah.
But could we kind of do the same thing, but with a little less process content? Again, we do our best, yeah.
And that's one of the advantages actually of Canada and BC, because we have a lot of government support. We're very intent to make sure that the technology at Departure Lounge is accessible to underrepresented groups and people that might otherwise not be able to afford it. But I think the key point from the beginning was, when you think about it in the context of a regular real life production shoot, again, I actually think it represents great value for the quality of the output that you get, right?
Yeah.
On which happy note,
Yes.
We're
So
at
that's
time.
it.
Thank you.
Definitely
Thank you
come
very
visit
much.
us in
Yeah.
Los Angeles and Vancouver, and thank you so much for coming today.
all right.
Yeah.